So looking at the core principles, so some of the principles that we have for lean, very, very fundamental aspects of lean. So if you know this, if you're working on these, that means that you're actually trying to implement lean in your life, in your work, and in your business. So that's where we'll talk about each of them. So there's an aspect of amplification of learning. So you're trying to increase the learning, and not just increase it, actually kind of amplifying it multifold to make sure that you're actually learning not just about your product, about your customers and users, but about your own employees, about your team, about your the way you're developing the software, the processes, the products, everything. So the learning has to be continuous. And that's why these sessions, for example, that we've been having for the last 3 months, we are trying to actually encourage people to learn continuously, in an incremental way. If you actually look back about September time when we started this boot camps, we pretty much didn't know where we were going. We didn't know the foundation of what an Agile is, what a BA is. But now, over the last 3 months, we've actually been adding a lot of these values, a lot of these different terminologies, the kind of the processes, the workflows, the practices, principles, challenges, all of these we're trying to understand within each of these methodologies. So amplification is definitely there. Now, the only thing that is important there is to make sure that you're actually applying this learning, making sure that you're actually understanding the nuances of these learning by applying and then by sharing with others. And then the other important principle within lean is that you should decide not as early, but as late as possible. So actually kind of defer. You do not decide right now. If it is something that needs to be done, for example, 5 months down, don't decide right now, because that's where, the Agile thinking comes in. Agility is all about accepting change. It's all about how you're welcoming change and how you're not fighting with change. So, for example, what we're talking about in the strategic context is, now businesses used to actually think long-term. The longer-term thinking was about a good 5 years before. The 5-year plan was what used to be. And then slowly, if you really look at in the last few years, 5 years is like too longer term. Who has actually seen like next year? Who has seen tomorrow? That's what is important. Nobody has seen tomorrow. So why do you need to plan for 5 years down the line? We can never imagine what could happen within the next month. So the cycles have come down so quickly. They are crunching the cycles of these planning. So your strategic long-term planning has come down to, for example, 2-year window, and your tactical planning from there on came down to 6 months to 1 year. And then finally, your ops planning, the operational planning of how you're doing the work, is actually about weeks to months is what you're actually trying to look at. So you no longer have the visibility of that 5 years. And that's why it is important for us to decide things as late as possible, because we can then kind of understand what is contributing to the change of direction, if any, and we can correct our course quickly instead of taking a long time, because here it's all about lean. For example, if you have got a boat which has got 50 people, it's a huge cruise ship, for example, like Titanic, and Titanic is there. And then if you want to change the course correction, if you want to change that from the iceberg, they actually, for example, they noted that iceberg, and they wanted to change the course of Titanic from there. So no matter how much they tried to change that with the captain and the rest of the crew, they could not change it because it's a huge ship. It's a huge cruiser. So the cruise liner could not be changed because of the massive size of it. And to change the direction, even for a slight, just a few degrees of angle, is taking so much of effort, time, and cost, right? So just imagine the same with a canoe. I think some of you must be doing kayaking. You would have done kayaking. I did that last summer, not this year though. So the kayak is very lean, slim, and you are just only yourself. You can sit within the kayak, and it's easy to manipulate and maneuver. So the way you change the direction with a kayak is perhaps just a twist you've got only that one paddle. And with that one twist of that, you actually can change that. And the other one is, if you want to go straight, you just keep going. But then if you want to change the direction on one way, just flip the paddle and then keep direction this way. Then you'll turn left. And the same with, if you want to turn right, flip the paddle and then do a couple of paddles here this way, and then you'll go right. So it's so easy with a kayak, to change the direction, to change course of your kayak. than compared to, let's say, a huge battleship or a luxury cruiser, right? So what does that say? That says that, well, these two are serving different purposes. I'm not trying to compare my kayak with Titanic. That's a different ball game altogether. But what is important there to understand is that we can take a decision quicker with a kayak because the amount of effort required to change or accept change and react is quicker with this than compared to a Titanic. So it's a common sense. I don't have to explain further. It's common sense, right? So with that context, when you try and work in lean teams, you can afford to actually defer and take decisions till the last minute because you're lean. You don't have the fat. You don't have to spend so much of effort, time, and money to change your course correction or to take a decision which is different from what you're doing. So that in a sense is the fundamental spirit of lean. Very, very important. And once you decide, that's important here. Just because I have decided with a kayak that, yeah, I'm going left, I can't just by deciding I would go left. I need to actually kind of row the paddle to actually turn maybe 3 times of that rowing of the paddle just to make sure that I'm going left, right? So the deliver is as fast as possible. I cannot afford to just take a decision, yes, I'm going left, and then just stay on the paddle because I'll be where I am in the kayak, right? So if I've decided that, yes, I need to go left because there's some boat coming from my front, that means that in order to avoid the collision, I actually need to turn my kayak to the left, is what I know. I've decided, yes, oh my gosh, I need to turn left. Otherwise it's a head-on collision with the speedboat coming ahead. Just the decision is not enough, right? I can take the decision in the nick of the moment because it's very light, very slim and lean, and just myself there in the kayak. But I really need to just do a quick 3 paddles there, just so that I can turn the paddle and then go to the left quickly. Within a second, I can just be there, and then the boat can come and then we avoid the collision. I can afford to do that because I have got that lean structure within me, within the kayak. But can I do that with Titanic? No, because obviously it is different. And that's why if the moment you decided that you are going to do something, or you're going to deliver something, you've got some backlog items that need to be delivered for your product, you decide as late as possible, as that exactly means that in the context of Scrum that we've been discussing all along. In the sprint planning meeting, you decide that you're going to actually have these 5 different items and not the 10 that the product owner initially suggested. So you as a team discuss these with the product owner and say that I'm not going to deliver all 15. I'm just going to do this 5, and then additionally these 5. So there's a change of course, there's a change of direction there. But once you decide that, you're going to work on that within the sprint, heads down, just work on that. You don't get worried about what's happening everywhere within the other contexts. So the important thing there is to deliver on your backlog work, and then deliver and then deploy. So that's important. So it's not just about taking the decision, but also being able to following it up with action. And then to do that, what is important is you need to empower the team, right? If you do not empower the team, how would they be delivering the software? How would they be delivering, working on the features and delivering as committed? Because they, remember again, going back to the foundations of Scrum and Agile, I was talking about the team being so powerful that they estimate, they commit, they deliver, and they deploy, and they actually own the whole product and the features. So they're not being told what to do, even by the Scrum Master, the project so-called manager here. Nobody's dictating terms, nobody's bossing around in Agile, in Scrum. The team is powerful enough to do the estimation, to commit to the estimates, to actually say that, well, this is what we stand for, this is what we're going to deliver at the end of the sprint. They're going to work on those commitments, they're going to deliver on the work, and then they're going to continue with this. So basically you're empowering the team to do pretty much everything. So the same way, we are actually in the context of a ship, for example, the captain and the crew have got all the power to take decisions about the course that the ship is taking. There, the passengers of the ship don't tell the captain where they would like to go. You know what, I would like to go there, please change it to. You can't change the course correction, or you can't let the customer, you can't let the captain, the crew, you can't tell them. Whereas you in that context, they are the best placed people to take the decision about how the ship needs to be ruddered, where the ship needs to go, and how much speed, and what are the operational aspects of the ship and the boat are actually taken best by the crew, and which means the team sitting on the boat. They are the best people to actually take a call as to how they should steer the ship. In the same context, if we're traveling in train, flight, whatever it is, we cannot tell the people who are trying to board, the passengers. We paid the ticket, yes, but we cannot tell the captain of the flight as to how he should, what kind of speed he should maintain, or what kind of nautical miles he should clock every few seconds and minutes. You cannot tell that, even though you paid as a passenger, you paid the ticket, because the best person to actually take that call, that decision about the ways of navigation, is the captain and the crew. So in the context of the software development, the crew and the captain are nobody but the team. Let the team decide, let the team work on it, let the team deliver. So that's the whole idea of lean again. And build, integrate in. So basically what we're trying to understand is that you're not trying to actually have many different loose parts. So you've got too many loose connections and everywhere, people trying to say this, do that, then it's bound to fail. Instead of that, just have a cohesive working unit. And then when you develop something and deliver it, you actually got these small things working already. That's where the regression testing, the automation testing is so important in Agile context. Regression testing, integration testing, automation testing, these are critical. And that's why I keep telling you, going back to what we've been talking all along, with Agile software, it's about continuous development. And when you try and develop continuously, what needs to be done next? You need to integrate continuously. So the continuous integration. And once you develop and integrate continuously, what can be done easily? Continuous delivery. So continuous development, continuous integration, and continuous delivery. This is basically the mantra of Agile software development, whether it is Scrum, Kanban, Lean, DSDM, whatever it is, XP, it doesn't matter. End of the day, it's all about this specific aspect of how you can try and integrate the parts together and ship them as one unit. And that's where it is really important. You can try and look at things and work at things individually, but you need to see the big picture, see the whole. It's the whole there is twice. I mean, it's not just the WHOLE, but also sometimes you need to see the whole if there is a C. Like for example, in my kayak, if I am trying to row my kayak and then I see that it's getting heavier and heavier, and I'm not able to actually kind of row wherever I want to turn left, it's not turning, because suddenly I feel that it's getting heavy. You know why? Because there's a small hole within the bottom of the kayak, and it's actually, the water is seeping in, it's actually filling up the kayak very much. So I need to see the hole in the kayak as well as I need to see the big picture of where I am, right? So I should not go into some place where it is actually taking me to a completely different direction, or I should not go hit a boat coming in, a speedboat coming in. All of these are important within the context of that, see the whole as a principle. So see the big picture. If you do not get the big picture, you would never go anywhere near the development of, or the delivery of your value. And eliminate waste. This is actually the last, but not the least, very, very, very fundamental aspect of lean. Eliminate waste. So first identify waste, where it is, and we're going to talk about waste and how you need to do, what kind of wastes are there in software development. We'll have a look at it in the next few slides. So very important, eliminate waste wherever you see. First identify where the waste is, whether it is in the processes, whether it is in the workflow, whether it is in the softwares, whether it's in the, for example, the handoffs happening between the people, as I discussed in the software development. For example, the developers are trying to create a build, they're trying to push it onto the test environment. The testers are just waiting for it. When is the build coming? When is the build coming? They just keep waiting and waiting. So there's a lot of time waste by the testers, because they are just waiting for the build to come through from the development team. So essentially that's a huge waste of, for example, if there is a testing team of about 5 people who are waiting for the build to come in so they can start testing, that is multiplied by so many days, right? So 5 multiplied by, let's say there is a 1 month delay of the project. So that would lead to a significant waste of resources. So you need to identify how you can structure this, how you can actually kind of feed the testing team with enough work initially, just so that they don't have to keep waiting for the build to come. So we need to think about all those different aspects and come up with solutions that would help the development team and the whole of the team, not just the testing team, but the team, to work in tandem, to work in a collaborative manner.